In this video, we're going to go through the different options REALvision Embrace provides us. We start by selecting a machine, in this case InsoleMaker, then selecting a material. In this case, it's a TPU, which is from Createch, and it is with show hardness 85A. We can also choose other materials in case we have such option, and by clicking on them, we can add them to the drop-down list. The third option is to select the printing profile. By default, we have three printing profiles. We have a closed bottom, which is going to make a completely closed insole. We have open bottom, which will make the bottom of the insole porous. And then we have skeleton, which is going to make the insole completely open from both sides. For the sake of this example, we're going to go with closed bottom. We start by adding an insole. It is by clicking on the plus button. I have already selected the insole which is loaded. And then we add modifiers. This is by clicking on the plus button on the modifiers. Let's say form for density 1. When we add the modifier, it will arrive on the workspace, and then we can have different model manipulations. All the model manipulations are in that section here, where we can start with its position. We have the option to move the model on XY axis. Alternatively, we can place it in a particular place. For example, 100 millimeters on X. By clicking on the Z axis, we can move it up and down on the workspace. Another option is to scale. We can scale uniformly to, let's say, option to ratio of 2. If we scale too much, then we can reset to its initial conditions. Or we can also scale it only in one of the dimensions, for example, on X. Another option is to rotate the model, which can happen in different ways. We can select a particular angle with which we would like to rotate, and then by clicking on the plus or the minus, it will rotate according to the specific axis we have selected. Alternatively, by clicking with the left button of the mouse, we can select a particular surface we would like it to point towards the printing surface. Another option that we have is by clicking on the flip, so we can have a mirror or flip on any of the selected axes, for example, on the X-axis or Y-axis. The last option for the model manipulation is the hardness. In this menu, we can select the hardness of each and every model we have selected. For example, in this case, the insole is with a medium hardness. And for the modifier, we would like to have it hard. Once we have arranged the modifiers in the location where we want them to be, and we have selected the hardness, we can click on prepare. This is going to prepare our print file, which we can provide to the printer. When the slicing is complete, a new window opens where we can observe our printing file. We can look through the different layers one by one and see how are they going to be printed. For example, in here you can see the difference between the medium hardness of the standard insole and the hard zone which we have selected with the modifier. We can also, by clicking on show layers, it is going to present a three-dimensional view of the print file. Going up and down will show more or less from the insole, including going from one layer to another. Once we have observed and we are satisfied with the result, we can either click on export and save the G code in a USB stick which we can provide to the printer afterwards, or we can click on print by Wi-Fi. Other options that we have in the software. Let me close this. We can, from file, we can save the workspace, which is gonna save our current project, including the profiles and everything which we have done so far, which we can open afterwards. We can open the workspace file. So if we, once we have saved the workspace, now we can open it and start again, or start from where we stopped. We can export or import the printing settings, which practically is going to provide a set of profiles in that section, which we're going to be observing in that section here. Or we can exit the software. In Edit, we have another set of object manipulations. We can delete a selected object. We can delete all of the objects on the workspace. We can select all the models. We can duplicate the selected model, in this case, the modifier. We can duplicate and align the selected model, which will practically make a copy and place it exactly on top of the current one. We can also auto-place the models on the workspace. Any activity we have done, it can be undone or redone. We have options to have different views. We have a different video which is going through all the options we have. But on this video, quickly, we can reset the camera orientation. We can switch between orthographic view and perspective view. We can have a different locked position. For example, we can view directly from the top, or we can view from the bottom, or from the front, back, left, and right. In the updates menu, we can check for the updates for the software. We can also download the newest profiles. In case the current profiles have been outdated and Creative Rio have pushed new profiles on the servers, they can be downloaded by clicking on this button. We can also update the firmware for the machines. By clicking on that menu, it's going to show which one is the current firmware version we have downloaded, and if there is a new version, we can download it. Or we can also update the plugins, which are features coming in the future releases of our software. Last but not least, in the center of the workspace, we have a set of buttons. This is the Wi-Fi, which is going to open the Wi-Fi menu, which you can use for maintaining your printer farm if you have more than one printer. Reset camera is resetting the camera view, or you can reset the workspace into its initial conditions.